Welcome back to midwesthockey.info. Here we go again. We're going to talk about our Minnesota Wild for the 2015-16 season. Who we like and who we know on a team that we admittedly are educating ourselves on. Some of the decisions are more or less obvious, Trent, I think. And some of them a little bit more difficult. This is a team that's got some good young talent that we're not totally familiar with, unfortunately, but we're going to learn on the fly, and I think we got some pretty good selections here.
No, we're experts, Jim.
Oh, yeah, right. We're experts.
We're experts.
Yeah. So the Wild started their preseason last night, which was September 22nd, in Winnipeg. And the goaltending controversy that this team had got just a little bit deeper. A lot of people were predicting that one guy was on the outside looking in. Maybe I should be saving this stuff for the end. Okay. We'll start with the forward. Who do we have? These are the three top players on the Wild. Whether they'll end up playing on the same line, I'm not sure. But Mikko Koivu, a veteran center that you're a big fan of.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Mikko Koivu for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
Always liked him.
Parise on the left, clearly the team's top forward, and Jason Pominville on the right. If that's the way things shake out, that's a pretty darn good first line.
Yeah. I think that could be a good first line. The one thing I would say, I know Koivu's starting to get up there, so I don't know if they have anyone ready to step up and take over first line. But, Pominville, maybe Zucker, Vanek, depending on chemistry, but
They are fairly deep at center. Looking at these names here, maybe their most consistent position, if this is the way things shake out. They do have some pretty good players all the way down the list, so
yeah.
if Koivu slips down a little bit, maybe it wouldn't be a big surprise. We have Charlie Coyle between Zucker and Vanek. And again, that's a pretty solid second line.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you interchange a few of them guys, but that's what we have.
Yeah, I think that could be good, solid second line, even if you mix it up a little bit and maybe put one of those guys in the first line, Pominville down.
Yeah.
I think you could. I think they have a pretty good, solid top six.
If you move Pominville and Vanek, they're very similar. Either one could be on the first line, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No way you're replacing this guy, though.
No, he's staying there.
So let's move on to third line. Michael Granlund, I really like.
Yeah, he was a guy they gave a contract to. Younger guy. I think he's a guy that they're going to be looking for a lot of growth in this year.
Yeah. So, we have him listed as number 3 center. Again, if he moves up, I'm not shocked at all. Same thing with Nino Niederreiter. I like him a lot. He's a good winger that can put the puck in the net. And then we have Fontaine on the left.
And when you look at it, Jim, I feel like there isn't a whole lot of drop-off when you go to that third line.
Yeah.
You might not have the flashiest top 6 in the league, but they are good. And I think it really starts to shine when you start to get into that third line. You got a pretty dang good line.
Yeah, if you're matching your lines up right, maybe you get some scoring from whoever your third line is on that given night. So yeah, we'll have to keep our eye on that this season. Again, this is a team that
we're experts on.
We're experts. Oh yeah, so we know everything about this team.
Everything about everything in the NHL and juniors and college.
So fourth line we have Haula, Carter, and Schroeder. And I think that's, other than Haula, I think that's pretty much accurate.
Yeah. Haula you could see move up to the third line maybe.
Again, they're so deep at center, so maybe
It's
if guys
tough,
are switching positions, I don't know.
Yeah. So everyone in the NHL now is so good, so talented.
Yeah.
And you're never really, you don't see it very traditional where this guy is just a right winger.
Yeah.
Usually, he can play right wing or center, or he can play either wing position. Always, usually pretty flexible.
Yeah, that's what we found from looking at, doing our research on this stuff, looking at different websites and stuff. Different depth charts have players in different spots.
Yeah.
So I think in this modern era, forwards are forwards. That's it. I mean, they can play right winger can play left winger, center can play wing. Some forwards can play defense.
Let's just say, if you're good enough to make it to the NHL, you probably can play any position.
Yeah, except goalie.
Yeah, except goalie.
So defense again. They got Suter, who 2 years ago he logged the most minutes in the NHL. I believe he did again last year. One of the best defensemen in the NHL, a Norris candidate. He's our number one. That's an easy choice.
Mm-hmm.
We have Spurgeon with him on the first line.
Wisconsin native, Jim.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's from Madison, Wisconsin. Learned his hockey probably at Cap Ice, a rink that his father ran.
Yeah.
So we have Jared Spurgeon on the first group, Scandella and Broden on the second group, and again, I think a few of these guys are somewhat interchangeable, but I think that is your top four.
Yeah, in that top four, obviously, Suter, he's number one overall. The next three, any of those three could be playing with him, I would say.
Sure. Yeah.
And you could put either the other two on that second line. It wouldn't shock us at all.
And we put a third pair of Dumba and Folin. And
solid depth defenseman.
Yeah. Then we come to the best part. This is a team that it seems like every season they have some kind of a controversy between the pipes. Last year, you remember Darcy Kemper wouldn't sign, so they went out and signed Brzgalov. And then he said, "Okay, I'll sign." Just every year there's something. Last year, they add Devin Dubnyk somewhere around Christmas time, I want to say. He goes on a tear.
Yeah.
Really carries his team from oblivion back into a playoff spot.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it helped them. They upset the Blues, I want to say, in the first round. So, he was the one that really grabbed it, and he's earned it. Now, a lot of people have said, in conversations I've had, that he has a history of not being able to maintain. But he did a really good job down the stretch last year.
Yeah, the big question there is he a one-hit wonder? Because he had opportunities in the past to be the starting goalie, and did everything just click? Or was it just kind of going to be a one-year wonder?
Yeah. I think he's got a shot. He's really, he's the guy that they're gonna hand the number one spot to him. I'm pretty sure, at least to start the season.
Yep, I would have to agree.
And it's his to lose. So it's up to him, and I'm banking on him. I think he's got a good, just based on what I saw last year.
And the confidence they had in him going down the stretch. What did he play like? How many games straight going down the stretch?
I was in the 30s.
It was
a lot of games.
Yeah, it was a lot.
In the modern era, you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
Back-to-backs, almost every time you have a back-to-back, you're going to, because the other guy's shot. But, they just handed it to him, and he just kept winning. So they said, okay, Devin, take us to the playoffs.
Yeah. And this is actually, it's worth mentioning, the only one where we listed three goalies.
Yeah, we listed three, yeah. I think if you listen to most people, they'll have Kemper, and as their number two, if Backstrom is kind of the outside guy. So what happens? Last night they go to Winnipeg, open the preseason. Kemper goes the distance, or Backstrom goes the distance, and wins the game in overtime. So things just got a little bit tougher. This is, I think it's Dubnyk, Dubnik, and one of these two guys. I think they're all going to be on the team,
Yeah.
but who's going to be on the bench? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Well, I kind of, this is one way I kind of look at it. Backstrom's a veteran.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a few years left. You know, if I'm the Wild, I probably want him as my backup because I want Kemper playing as many games as he possibly can to gain as much experience. You don't want this guy just sitting on the bench.
Yeah, see, I'm not so sure they're going to send one of these guys to Iowa just because, I don't know, I think they're going to keep all of them around. That's the thing. The odd guy might not even go to Iowa. He might just still be there but just not play very often. But I don't know. You could be right. I don't remember how they worked it out last year. Of course, you know, maybe one of them, something bad happens the first game and it's a moot point. But, that always seems to be what happens. But
I just hate seeing a young, talented goalie that has promise sitting on the bench. It doesn't make sense to me. I really like looking back what the Red Wings did with Mrazek. Sent him down to Grand Rapids, even though he was the clear number 2 in a lot of people's eyes. But just experience, games.
Yeah. Well, listen, you mentioned it with the Detroit thing. These are both, they're NHL starters.
Yeah, they're NHL starters.
So, I mean, if they can turn it into something else, maybe they swing something early in the year. But if they're all healthy, there's certainly not room for all three of them. But man, it's going to be interesting to find out how that shakes out.
Yeah, and it is worth mentioning that, we talked about it in previous shows, they're starting to get a little bit aged in their core talented players.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea trading one of these guys away. Maybe a draft pick, something. Trying to get somebody who's going to help get you to the playoffs and go far.
Yeah, I think Koivu's certainly a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Parise, Suter, and I believe Vanek are all either 30 now or they turned 30 this season. So, yeah, maybe a little bit more desperation. They've got to the second round a couple years, but they always seem to run into the Hawks.
Yeah.
And if they want to